Senator, you heard the story of those steel workers. You know the fact, and the fact is manufacturing has contracted since President Trump is in office. He could lose some of those base voters, but he could also gain a whole lot more. We talk about the stock market, but the stocks aren't just held by wealthy Wall Streeters. We've got millions of Americans dependent on their 401ks. And President Trump is looking them straight in the face every day and scaring them and saying that 401k you feel so good about, it will be gone if Joe Biden is the next president. How does Joe Biden win over those people so concerned about their 401ks who feel pretty good about them right now?
Well, I don't think they feel good about the economy, though. In the stock market, most of America doesn't have stocks, as you know, even in 401ks. But I think, Heidi, what you had said earlier, that to Trump, the whole economy is all about the stock market. So he thinks it's a good economy. But listen to what Heidi said in Ecorse, Michigan. It's exactly the interview she gave. The people she interviewed were saying exactly the same thing in Lordstown, Ohio. The president came to Lordstown in the midst of a UAW of a GM plant closing. I begged him to get involved. He told the workers, don't sell your homes. These jobs are coming back. Then he didn't lift a finger to keep them. I mean, it's the same story over and over. There are, the last night, the convention, it was all about fear, of course. That's what they do when you're behind. I guess in politics, you try to scare the hell out of people about your opponent. But to me, in a lot of ways, as Connie and I were watching, it was a lot of background noise because there are 680,000 people in Ohio who are unemployed still. Their unemployment checks have expired. The moratorium on evictions has expired, yet Mitch McConnell sends us home instead of working with the White House and us to pass a bill that will open schools safely, help to do that, and that will help those workers be able to pay their rent and buy food for their families. So all that talk last night meant nothing if Congress doesn't do its job. Mitch McConnell doesn't do his job. Bring us back. Let us do our job in what we need to do.
Then what happens to that Lordstown voter who President Trump promised something different and people believed him and they had the ability to because he didn't have a track record? Now you've got 4 years and all of these people in your state who voted for him who are economically suffering, yet he still polls well on the economy. How do you square that?
Well, first of all, Trump won Ohio by 8 points. He won those 3 Midwestern industrial states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, by 1. We need to turn around about 1 out of 7 Trump voters, and we're doing that in large part because he has betrayed workers. Biden is running his campaign through the eyes of workers, talking about the dignity of work. You heard that word over and over at the convention, dignity, connected to work, connected to people's lives, their work lives and their personal lives. Trump has continued to betray workers. And elections are about contrast and they're about who's on your side. And it's clear that some Trump voters, we don't need a lot of them percentage-wise, a number of Trump voters are moving to Biden in large part because they see Trump has betrayed them. He's betrayed farmers. He's betrayed steel workers and auto workers. He's betrayed non-union workers. Look at his attacks on Goodyear. If a company's got union members, Trump has special ability. The steel industry, Goodyear, the post office, and those attacks on workers, that betrayal of workers and those attacks on workers are moving voters away from Trump and towards Biden. There's no question about that in my mind.
What does that Ohio Trump voter say about the fact that President Trump, who claims to be all about buy American, manufacture in America, though he doesn't manufacture his products here, what do they say about the fact that the President of the United States told his 85 million Twitter followers to boycott Goodyear Tires, a company based in Akron, Ohio, employing over 60,000 people, founded 121 years ago? Is the Ohio Trump voter cool with that?
No, I think that it's one more thing that people voted for Trump are scratching their head about this president. Every time there's a decision to make, Trump's if it's a fork in the road, you either go with corporate interest or you go with labor. Trump every time goes with corporate interest over workers, and that's becoming more and more clear. This last salvo aimed at Goodyear I think was a last straw for a number of people, especially in Northeast Ohio. But it's not just the 3,000 in Akron, Ohio that work at Goodyear. It's also the suppliers, as Heidi was talking about in the steel industry. It's the suppliers, it's the retail outlets, it's all the people that like the idea of this iconic American still, not many tire companies still in the U.S. You contrast that with Trump's whole complaint was about these baseball hats, most of which are made in China. So voters are starting to see that this president, first of all, he's a hypocrite about that. But forgetting that for a moment, he clearly has betrayed workers, and Biden is running this campaign all about the dignity of work. That's why I win in Ohio, in a state that Trump won by a good margin. It's why Joe Biden's going to win this state.
You do very well with suburban white women, college-educated white women in the state of Ohio. So did President Trump. How do they feel about Joe Biden?
Oh, I think that suburban white women are suburban African-American women were gone away from Trump a long time ago. Suburban white women, he's losing them. In 2018, Democrats had major pickup in the suburbs. And so Trump only wins Ohio if he can sort of stay where he was among suburban women. And he's not. He's losing there. He lost there. Democrats picked up 2 years ago. And he's got to hold on to his working class voters. And they are moving away from him, too. So he's in trouble. That's why Trump, pundits were writing off Ohio for the Democrats 6 months ago. I knew that wasn't the case, but that's what we were hearing. Trump did an $18 million TV buy here some weeks ago. So clearly he's concerned about it. And the convention last night was all about that. Nothing about the coronavirus to speak of. Nothing about unemployment insurance and getting people back to work. Nothing about the 20 million, as you pointed out a moment ago, Stephanie, unemployed workers in this country, 680,000 in Ohio. Just like that, their unemployment expired. And what are they going to live on? How are they going to, what are they to do? What are they to do for food? What are they to do to pay their rents? And we're going to have massive evictions, a tidal wave of evictions in the middle of a pandemic. So people go to overcrowded homeless shelters or sleep in their cousin's basement. What a terrible public policy. I mean, it's stupid, but it's inhumane as well. It's also stupid policy to allow that to happen.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.